all good.
Please do, no problem. Yeah, let me know when you have it done. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam.
Haribol, Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol, Hare Krishna. Nice to see you, Haribol. Hare Krishna.
Hare
I'm
Krishna
glad you joined.
Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Nice to see you too.
Very nice
It's a
to
long
see you,
time.
Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Haribol, Haribol. Okay. So we are going waiting for the devotee to fix something you need to do to continue with the lecture. Thank you for joining us too. This, I guess San Diego and Phoenix the same time, is it?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, you can start. And if anyone not asking question, can you mute yourself?
Yes, please turn off your phone, your microphone. And when there is you want to ask a question, then you raise your hand and then you can speak and ask the question. Thank you.
Yes, Maharaj,
Hare
you can go
Krishna.
ahead. Sorry for the interruption.
Please. Yeah, that's okay, no problem. So I was saying that this devotee, Habidas, he went next day, and it was Saturday, and you know, the public buses don't work on Saturday in Israel. So he was passing in front of a newspaper stand, and he saw a magazine, and then the cover, the word Bhakti Yoga was there. So he remembered what this man told him about Bhakti Yoga, and he opened it up and wrote down the address of the temple there. And he took a taxi, went there. And he came to know about Krishna consciousness and the books, the prasad, the kirtan, everything. He heard Prabhupada's lectures. And when he came back to Venezuela, he brought books with him and tapes and everything he could bring Krishna conscious, he brought. And he started meeting some friends and preaching to them. And they started reading Bhagavad Gita as it is, and chanting kirtan and everything. That was in 72, maybe around March, April 72. Then, to make the story short, they wrote in 73, they wrote to the Mexico temple, asking them to send somebody to open a temple there in Caracas, South America. So at that time, the temple president was Chitsukananda, and he wrote to Prabhupada asking his permission to go to help the devotees in South America. So Prabhupada agreed, and he told him already, Hanuman Goswami was there from Canada, and he was touring the Caribbean and South America. So he was already there like 3 months. So go and join him, Prabhupada said, help him preaching. He's sending me newspaper articles. He's preaching to the press, and it seems that it's very good field to preach Krishna consciousness. So in that way, Chitsukananda went there, became the first temple president. That was in end of 72, actually, end of 72, sorry. So when he arrived there were some devotees there already, and Hanuman, he stayed for a little more time, and he left to Argentina, to open Argentina. Then anyway, then the first temple started in 73. I met the devotees in 73, and then in 74, beginning of 74, I decided to join the temple. And Prabhupada told Chitsukananda, the letter he told him to go to help Venezuela, he told him, and if you open a nice center, when I come to America, I will come and visit you in South America. Please find a nice place to start the temple there. So Chitsukananda found a nice, first they started an apartment, small apartment, And then when things get better, more people start joining. So they moved to a big house, 3-story building house, beautiful place. Actually, Prabhupada stayed in that house. Was a rented house, was not owned. So anyway, so in 74, Prabhupada promised again to visit, to go there. And it was a was having some health problems. So Prabhupada decided to go to India until he recovered. So he promised that as soon as he gets better, he will come. So that happened, fortunately, in February 75. So anyway, Prabhupada visit to Venezuela is unique in the sense that it was the first time in the history of South America that pure devotee of Krishna also visited there. So, and Prabhupada spent 7 days in Venezuela. I wrote a book about his visit in Spanish, already is translated and edited in English. So a question of a few more months, I hope, can be published, hopefully. So this is Prabhupada sitting in the rocking chair in the temple's garden with the mountain behind him. This mountain called Avila. Prabhupada said it's a good place for a yogi, this mountain. Anyway, so so the first day Prabhupada arrived in Venezuela, like I told you, was appearance day of Advaita Acharya, very auspicious day. And the devotees, they made arrangement for Prabhupada to have VIP treatment when he arrived at the airport. The father of one devotee actually worked in the airport. He was a manager or something. So he spoke to the president of the airport, in charge of the airport, and convinced him that this is a very important personality coming the first time to visit Venezuela. So Prabhupada was given VIP treatment. He didn't have to go through immigration. He had a VIP room, and then police escort, 2 big motorcycle. We rented a nice big car, Mercedes, beautiful car for Prabhupada. The temple president had sandalwood oil from India, and he rubbed the seat where Prabhupada was going to sit there. So the car was very perfumed nicely for Prabhupada. Anyway, so when Prabhupada arrived at the temple, was already nighttime, around 8, maybe 7, 8. And Prabhupada walked in, and devotees were running here and there, happily nervous. And devotees from the roof, they were throwing rose petals on Prabhupada, Kirtan was going on. We were doing kirtan in the temple, but somebody blew a conch shell who was standing on the roof of the temple. When he saw the car coming up, was a hill actually. Then we came out of the temple, continued the kirtan until Prabhupada arrived. As soon as Prabhupada walked out of the car, we all offered our dandavat to Prabhupada, and we were very happy, excited, But he may not feel that we are spirit soul, we are not the body, although we were very running nervously, but we were happy. Everybody has a big smile on their face. So that's, wherever Prabhupada went, he impressed everyone with his purity and his aura. He has a spiritual aura surrounding him. Even people who were not devotees at the airport, they will stop and they will see, the servant told us that. People will say, this man has a spiritual aura around him. So anyway, so that night, Prabhupada sat down in Vyasasana. We were doing the kirtan, and we're chanting, dancing, and Prabhupada was looking at everyone, and suddenly he looked at me, and I never saw such a sight. Prabhupada's sight was so pure, so compassionate. I felt like a spiritual window, it's like his eyes were like a window to the spiritual world. And when he looked at me, I felt purified just by his sight. I felt like the temple was floating in mid-air, due to the presence of Prabhupada's presence there. So it was something very, very wonderful, that experience. I remember the day before Prabhupada arrived, we went until 1, 2 in the morning, just finishing, cleaning and painting his room, and it was very nice. We felt Prabhupada's presence before he even arrived there. It was a nice experience. This is our philosophy, like Lord Chaitanya explained, Prema Pumarto Mahan. The highest goal of life is to achieve prema. Gopivartur Padakamalyor Dasa Dasa Nudasa. That our position is to be the servant of the servant of the servant of the master of the gopis, Krishna. So that connection, that feeling with Srila Prabhupada through service was very, very intense, very powerful. And we felt Prabhupada's presence even before he arrived, because we are doing service sincerely to please him. And that made the connection, a real connection. That's the secret of spiritual life, actually, that we should always remember we are servant of the servant of the servant. This is the actual position. That's the secret of success, to follow the Guru Parampara and to try to sincerely serve the disciplic succession through the spiritual master. So, and then Havi Das was asked, since he was the person who brought Krishna consciousness to South America, he was asked to abhishek to Prabhupada's lotus feet. He never did it before in his life, so they told him very fast, do like this, like this. But he was so nervous, he didn't know how to do with it, actually. He thought Prabhupada's coming from far away. He must be tired, so let me give him a massage on his feet. So there was, all the ingredients for abhishek, yogurt and milk and ghee and honey and all this. So he mixed them all together and made a paste and started rubbing it all over Prabhupada's foot up to his knee. And he was massaging, was giving him an actual massage. So the devotees who came with Prabhupada, they knew that, no, this is not like this, Havi. This is not the proper way to do it. So Havi looked at Prabhupada, and Prabhupada looked down at him and said, go on, finish. So very nervously, he was supposed just to put them and put warm water. Anyway, the kirtan was still going on, meantime. And Havi was so excited, he did the second food very fast. And then he started throwing Charanamrit all over us. We were drenched. All the clothes were, but we were happy. We were dancing, chanting, You remember the pastime of Nityananda and Advaita, that they have a mock fight, arguing between themselves, and Nityananda Prabhu threw a bunch of hot rice on Advaita Acharya and stuck in his cloth, and Advaita Acharya started dancing. So I remember that pastime. Anyway, and I noticed that Havi kept a glass of Charanamrita, and he was going to drink it. And I immediately ran to him and asked him for a few drops, He put in my palm some few drops. I drank that, so it was a great blessing. Anyway, after the kirtan and the Guru Puja finished, then Prabhupada started speaking. And he said, thank you very much for receiving me so nicely. I'm very happy to visit here your temple. And he said very nice word and start preaching the philosophy. He said, it is very nice that we have with us these two Prabhus pointing to the Gornitai deities. They came from far away in Navadvip, their home, to bless all the people of South America. And there is, then he wanted to sing a song for them. He said, there is a nice song. Can you please follow me? Sri Prabhupada start. You know that song by Lochandas Thakur. Paramo Koruna Pahundui Jana Nitai Gora Chandra Tava Avatar Sarashiromani Kevala Nanda Kanda. That God Nitai are so merciful, so kind, because they are Parama Koruna, supremely merciful. They are the jewel amongst all the Brahmanas and the crest jewel of all avatars, because they brought a process which is simply joyful. Kevala Ananda Kanda. Chanting, dancing, and eating Krishna Katha and feasting. Very blissful process. So anyway, but as soon as Prabhupada said the first two words, Parama Karuna, his voice sharp, he couldn't sing anymore. He laid his head back on the asana, and we could see a stream of tears coming from his eyes. All the room became silent, and that lasted for a few minutes. And then when Prabhupada came back to external consciousness, he opened his eyes, his eyes were shining. And he said, Paramo Karuna, Lord Chaitanya is so merciful. Because if you would have come to kill demons like Krishna, Lord, did, practically speaking, nobody will be left in Kali Yuga. He said the demon and the devotee are living in the same body in Kali Yuga. Meaning the mentality, of course, the evil and devotee mentality. And Lord Chaitanya came to kill the evil mentality of people through this chanting of Harinam and the good association of devotees. Prabhupada emphasized that. So anyway, at the end of the lecture, he said, now you are very fortunate. You received Lord Chaitanya's mercy. Please make others fortunate to distribute the mercy. So we were so enthusiastic about preaching and distributing Prabhupada's books to everyone. We distributed millions of books all over South America, Venezuela. I mean, that's the service I was given the first day I joined, and kept doing it for many years. But when Prabhupada went to Venezuela, I was going out every day distributing the books. And anyway, so every day we will go to the park with Prabhupada, you know. There's a nice park there, East Park, and they have a nice lakes and a zoo and everything in that park. So I'm going to tell you a few pastimes of Prabhupada staying there. Have you heard about the pastime of the stewardess? I'm sure you did. You want to hear it again, I guess. Maybe some of you don't know it and want to hear it. So the stewardess, this pastime happened in the flight when Prabhupada was coming from Mexico to Venezuela. There was a Venezuelan airline. The name of the airline was Biasa, like Biasa did, you know. And in the flight, before boarding, Shrutakirti, Prabhupada's servant at that time, he forgot to bring prasad from the temple. It was like 5-hour flight. Prabhupada never took any food from the airplane. So, but fortunately, one lady devotee, actually she was Indian devotee in Mexico, she handed him some package. She said, this is prasad for Prabhupada. So as soon as the flight took off, Prabhupada asked, where is the prasad? Oh, Prabhupada, you want something from the airplane? No, we should have our own prasad. So the devotee opened the aluminum folder, and inside was puffed rice, muri, you know, and with peanuts and spices. And didn't ask for a plate, just opened the folder. And Prabhupada started eating. And although it wasn't too much, Prabhupada ate only half of it. And then he asked the disciple, okay, you take now. There were two of them sitting next to him. And they shared the puffed rice very happily, Maha Prasad, Anyway, and as soon as they start eating, the stewardess, young girl, passed through. And without telling them a word, she grabbed a handful of puffed rice and bumped it in her mouth, And she, so tasty. What is this? So good. And the bodies were shocked, because this is not very professional, for a stewardess, not even ask permission. Just, she stole the mercy, the Maha Prasad. So anyway, the devotee tried to explain. She asked, what is this? I never tasted before. So they explained it to her. And then she asked them, is this all you're going to eat? You don't want anything else? They said, well, we are vegetarian. Unless you get us some fruits, we will not take. Oh, okay, I will bring you. So she brought a big basket full of fruits with plate, and she served Prabhupada the fruits and the devotees. And Prabhupada was smiling, he was pleased. And then after a while, she came back and asked if they wanted something more. So Sutta asked Prabhupada, would you like to have milk? Prabhupada said, yes, very hot. So she brought a jar full of hot milk and served Prabhupada and devotees like that. So that was her good fortune. Agyata Sukriti, she served the pure devotee unknowingly. Anyway, I came to know later in the beginning of the 80s, some devotees were doing book distribution in the border between Venezuela and Brazil. And one devotee knocked at the door of one house, and the lady came out and he offered the book. He said, yes, I will buy from you the book. Please come into my house. And when the devotee came in, he was surprised to see pictures of Krishna and Lord Chaitanya and Prabhupada. Oh, do you know about Hare Krishna? Yes. I was a stewardess, and I met Prabhupada. I served Prabhupada in airplane. And then after that, I started visiting the Los Angeles temple, and I became devotee. I chant my rounds and follow the principles. So one moment of association with a pure devotee, like Srila Prabhupada, actually had wonderful influence on her. She became a devotee. Anyway, so then that night we couldn't sleep until late because, we were so excited that finally we were hoping for Prabhupada to arrive for more than a year. And finally that happened. So we were very emotional, very excited. And next day in the morning, we went, Prabhupada wanted to go to a park for a walk, so we took him to a park. And then that park was next to the university. Botanical park was named. And Prabhupada saw many varieties of plants, lotus flowers, and even the banyan trees, fig trees, wonderful. But it was very close to the highway. The fence was very close to the highway. It was a lot of noise from the cars. So that was the only time Prabhupada went to that park. After that, we took him to another park, much bigger, much nicer. But I remember one incident when Prabhupada was walking next to the fence separating from the highway. A motorcycle man passed through, and he shouted when he saw everybody dressed in orange color. He shouted, "These demons!" And in Spanish, he said, no. Prabhupada asked what he said. He explained. Prabhupada said, no, he made a mistake. The demons are on the other side of the fence, not this side, the other side. And also Prabhupada added, we can tell them to exchange, instead of going different direction cars, they should exchange their duties so they can stay wherever they are. don't have to run so fast in different directions. Anyway, so then after Prabhupada was giving Bhagavatam class every evening, he changed the Bhagavad Gita for the morning and Bhagavatam in the evening. Somebody else was giving Bhagavad Gita in the morning, and he was giving Bhagavatam in the evening. Anyway, we didn't have Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita in Spanish at that time. The only book was Sri Upanishad in Spanish. Luckily, I learned English before joining the movement, so I was translating to the devotees every night the Krishna book before going to sleep. And was very nice. You know, we sat down with a glass of hot milk and I read Bhagavad Krishna book to the devotees. Anyway, so then after a few days, the time for initiation came, and devotees from all over South America were going to be initiated, along with the devotees from Venezuela. I was one of them. And when Prabhupada called me for initiation, he told me, your name is Jagat Chakshur Das. And he explained to the people the meaning. He said, Jagat means the world, the universe. And Chakshu means the eye. So God is the eye of the world. Whatever you are, whatever you're doing, you must always remember that God's sight is on you, Prabhupada said. And then he looked back at me and he said, while pointing his finger at me, he said, you cannot hide from the eyes of God. Everybody was looking at me. Maybe he did something wrong, you know. And I was very nervous. I thought, wow, Prabhupada can read the mind, because I remember a few days before Prabhupada came, I went to the kitchen. Nobody was there early morning. And I stole a Maha Burfi. And I was hiding, eating it, thinking nobody's watching me. So when Prabhupada said, you cannot hide, I felt caught. You know, Prabhupada read the mind. He knows everything. Anyway, so that was a very wonderful experience with Prabhupada. And then one day at the park also, so many wonderful experiences. I remember many of them. I will say some of them. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Sham Mohini, Hare Krishna. One morning we were with Prabhupada at the park, and some birds start, making loud noise. So Prabhupada asked why they are angry. And the devotee said, Prabhupada, because they are in cages. Oh, only birds? No, it's a full zoo here. Prabhupada, you'd like to go and see? Yes, yeah, let's go. So we walked to Prabhupada to the zoo. And Prabhupada stopped to look at the crocodiles. There was a fence around the pond. So one crocodile was like a statue on the sand. Other two crocodiles were swimming. So we surrounded Prabhupada around him. And suddenly one of the crocodiles who was swimming, he looked at Prabhupada and opened his mouth big tooth, like a huge tooth like that. So Prabhupada spoke to the crocodile. He told him, you have a very good arguments to catch, but no opportunity to do it. Then he looked at us smiling. He said, he's inviting one of you come here. And he said he's a male. I don't know how Prabhupada noticed a male, but was Prabhupada a sense of humor too. I remember one lady greeted Prabhupada, Buenos dias, which means good morning. Prabhupada, what is the meaning? So we explained. And after walking a few more minutes, he greeted some people saying, Buenos dias. They answered, oh, buenos dias, senor. Prabhupada, catch very fast the words in Spanish. He was speaking to the yoga group and to the parapsychology group, metaphysical group. And he used the Spanish word like atma, alma, super alma, soul, super soul, Anyway, and he defeated a lot of Mayavadis. Prabhupada defeated materialistic people and Mayavadis. they came to speak with Prabhupada, a group of psychiatrists. They were very materialistic, actually. And Prabhupada, he defeated them with philosophy because they were arguing that the body is the most important thing. We should take care of the body. Prabhupada said, yes, we agree, but more important is to take care of the soul. If you're driving a car and there is an accident, what is more important, to save the car or to save the driver? So they have to agree that, comparatively speaking, the soul is more important than the body, because they were saying they are equally important. So what Prabhupada, with this example, he defeated their ideas. Anyway, and then when he spoke after that day, and then another day came the yoga group and metaphysical group. Both were Mayavadis. So Prabhupada defeated them very, very nicely, he convinced them of the personal aspect of the Supreme Lord. Especially the lady was the leader of a metaphysical group, and she wrote a book about metaphysics and impersonalism. But Prabhupada very cleverly defeated her because she was saying that they were chanting one mantra, actually, in Spanish. They were chanting the mantra, Yo soy, which means I am. Prabhupada said, if somebody asks you who you are and you say I am, and I keep asking you who you are and you keep saying I am, the person would think you're crazy. And she argued, well, in the Bible, when Moses asked Prabhupada, what should I tell people if I ask me who sent you to save the Jew from slavery in Egypt? And God in the Bible said, tell them I am who I am. Prabhupada said, that's okay. God can say I am, you can say I am, but both I am are not on the same level. When God say I am, he say I am the Supreme. And when we say I am, means I am the small part. And he's the all, and we are the small part. But she kept arguing, well, we are evolving. One day we will become the all. Prabhupada says there is no such evolution. The part is always the part, and the all is always the all. The part can never become the all. So she kept arguing, oh, we're never going to be one with the all. Prabhupada said, you already are in the all, but you are not the all. You're part of it. It's like a small part of a machine. When it isn't the machine, you can say it is one with the machine. But the part is not the whole machine, it's just part of it. When that part is thrown out in the ground, doesn't have any use. But when it is attached to the machine, has a use, has a purpose. In the same way, we are detached from God's service, we are useless. But as soon as we connect ourselves to the all by service, then our life has meaning. So do you agree? Prabhupada said. Finally, she agreed. She said, yes, we are part of the all. Prabhupada, very good. Bring the prasad now. So Prabhupada was wonderful. So he did such nice preaching there. So devotees were very inspired. So anyway, I'm sure you have some questions, all of you, or comments. Please do. We're going to start now. Having the conversation. Shama Mohini from Phoenix, Arizona, she's asking me how I came to the movement. I will make it brief. It's a long story. I will make it brief. I was religiously inclined since my childhood, since my parents went to send me to study to become a priest at the age of 14. They lost, before I was born, they lost 3 children, 2 boys, 1 girl. And they went to a church. They were Catholic Christians. and they prayed to God. If the next son survive, we will dress him as a Christian monk for 3 years and will offer him for God's service. So I was destined for this. But at the age of 14, I decided not to go to the monastery because my parents were traveling, emigrating to South America. I was born in Middle East, Syria. Anyway, so when I met the devotees, actually first time was I saw them first time on TV in a show, and they were doing kirtan, and then they were answering questions, preaching the philosophy. I was with my family, and I turned up the volume, so I wanted to hear more clearly the philosophy they were preaching. I was already vegetarian and practicing yoga, so I was into spirituality at that time, you know. My family took me like the black sheep of the family because of my vegetarianism and yoga thing. At that time, wasn't popular much at all. Anyway, so when I did that, my mother said, the only thing left for you to do is to join this Hare Krishna people. I never thought about it, but when my mother said that, I thought, why not? Maybe it's a good idea. So anyway, I saw them, also they came to my town. I was in a different town, 2 hours away from the capital where the temple was. But one day they did a kirtan on the street of my town. So I was attracted to the kirtan and to them. And then started visiting the temple. One friend of mine, we met one devotee on the street, and he gave us a car to visit the temple, and we went there because he had told us we read Bhagavad Gita, we chant mantras, and we have a vegetarian spiritual food offered to the Lord. So we were interested, so we went. And I remember asking the devotees the first time I went to the temple, can you please tell me for you how God looks like? Because I have this curiosity since I was a teenager, ask a priest how God looks like. He said, that's a mystery, nobody have seen God. But when I asked the devotee that question, they immediately showed me a beautiful painting, big oil painting of Radha and Krishna. Krishna playing the flute with the Yamuna river with lotus flowers, peacocks, the cows, Radharani, Vrindavan, beautiful. So they show me the painting. Here is God, this is God. And I look at the painting, happy and surprised at the same time. Oh, finally somebody have an answer. Why not? He can be God. He looks very beautiful. No? Anyway, I thought all religion of the world looking for God. This Hare Krishna people have this painting on their wall. That's far out. I want to know more about this philosophy. I'm interested, intrigued more than ever. So that's how I started chanting japa. I was already following the 4 rules for almost 2 years before joining the temple, before meeting the devotees, because of my yoga practice and everything. So when I asked the devotee, what do I need to do to join the temple? He said, well, follow the 4 rules. I said, already doing it long time ago. Oh, then what are you doing outside? Come in. I wasn't married at the time or nothing like that. So they say yes. So I told my parents about it. Of course, they didn't like it much. They complained. My father said, I'll buy you a new car and forget about this Hare Krishna, you know. And my mother was crying, you're my favorite son, please don't go. And I reminded them, look, you told me when I was born, you made a promise to God. So now you should be happy that you are fulfilling your promise. And they said, well, we meant the Christian God, not the Hindu God. I thought they should have been more specific there because God is not Hindu nor Christian or Muslim or Jew. Let me go. If I don't like it, I will come back. Oh, okay, then come back soon. Let's see. Of course, that wasn't my intention to come back. I wanted to leave the temple, become a monk. So anyway, that's how I joined the temple. Thank you for asking, Shah Mohini. I'm sure you heard that before, so thank you. Any other comment, questions?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. This is Adri Das. It's good to see you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. My question is, thank you for sharing all those experiences that you had with Prabhupada. I was wondering, is there any experience that you wish that you had with Prabhupada that you didn't get to have?
Well, to being able to have more time in his association, that's for sure. I only had association with Prabhupada 1 week in Venezuela and 1 week in New York. In 1976, in July, there was the first big Ratha Yatra in New York, in New York, and 30 devotees from the temple. We went there, and that was the second time we have darshan of Prabhupada. We spent 1 week also with Prabhupada there. It was wonderful, and that was in 76. And that year, in the marathon of December 76, we won, the Caracas temple won the marathon of book distribution worldwide, defeating even the big Radha Damodar traveling Sankirtan buses, you know. So we were very surcharged with Prabhupada's presence. Yeah, sometimes I lament why I wasn't there when Prabhupada was in Vrindavan. And I was a poor brahmachari, didn't have money to travel to India, so I wasn't able to go. That of course, I lament sometimes, but the relationship is eternal because the connection is always there through service and through obedience, and that's eternal, that's forever. So yes, sometimes I wish I had spent more time with Srila Prabhupada, but that's the way we are trained, to serve Prabhupada in separation. We knew Prabhupada was traveling over the world, initiating disciple, opening temple, preaching to the people. So we were happy to assist him in whatever little capacity we had. And that was our great fortune, actually. So I'm completely grateful for Krishna's mercy to have met a pure devotee who changed my life forever. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, yeah, thank you very much for your wonderful, enlivening talk. Thank you. I was wondering if you could tell us, because I know you've told before, but that time you had a dream with Srila Prabhupada. I mean, maybe, I'm sure you had, anyways,
Okay.
but that's the specific dream where I think it had something to do with your tour to South India with Jayapataka Goswami.
Oh, let me see. I mean, I had a dream with Prabhupada where I was told I should write a book about his visit to South America. Not that dream, I guess, no?
No, not that one.
Oh.
Something about
you mean
giving you the deity. Maybe the deity appeared to you, said, or maybe it was Prabhupada, something about giving you love for God.
No, that's different. That's a deity of Balaji in South.
Oh.
I was traveling with His Holiness Jayapataka, and we went to have a Mongol Arti at the Tirupati temple, Balaji deity. And that was very wonderful experience because Lord Balaji appeared in my dream and he offered me a blessing. So I said, my dear Lord, what more blessing can I have than your darshan? I'm fully satisfied. I don't need anything else. But the Lord insisted in the dream, no, I'm very more pleased now. You should ask for something. So I just said, my dear Lord, I'm not going to ask anything material. If you wish to give me one blessing, either this life or the next, to have Radha Krishna Prema. And Lord Balaji smiled and he extended his right hand, and he touched my head like a blessing, like that. And I felt a big hand touching my head that woke me up. I was all crying, very, very emotional. And I didn't tell anyone, but Yapataka Maharaj called me to have breakfast with him and asked me, I see there is something different with you today. Did you have any spiritual experience? Then I told him the dream. And Yapataka Maharaj took my hand and put it on his head, So I touched his feet, no, Maharaj, I'm a fallen soul. And he hugged me like that. And he said, don't tell anyone. No, I just told you. But then after 5 minutes, he was telling the temple president and other devotees, like that. Anyway, since you asked me, I'm saying to please you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. All right. So if we don't have more question, thank you very much. Okay.
Did you leave? Okay, well, thank you very much,
Okay, so
Maharaj. Hopefully we see you soon.
Yes.
Appreciate you doing
Hopefully
this thing.
so. Let me know. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay, we'll do that.
Very
Sure.
good. Thank you. So I can visit not only San Diego, but also Phoenix too.
Yes, yes.
Hare Krishna. Thank you,
Hare
everyone, for the opportunity. I'm very happy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Haribo. Haribo,
Hare Krishna
Haribo.
Maharaj.
Jai
Thank you. Thank
Prabhupada.
you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jai Haribo.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.